Hi everybody and welcome to a very special episode of the Renewables Podcast. So this one you'll notice I'm on my own, and this is going to be very much a podcast to go and watch. So this is going to be on YouTube, as well as if you're listening to us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, then yeah, we'll be walking around. So I'm not sure at this stage how much Mark will feature. I'm at InstallerShow and so is Mark, but Mark is much more involved with InstallerShow. He's doing some catwalk stuff, so we'll have a little look and see if we can get hold of Mark as well. So you might have to just cope with me for this episode, but I'm going to run around the InstallerShow and we're going to hopefully speak to some installers, some manufacturers, plumbers, electricians, kind of everyone that we can get our hands on, and find out a few things about how they're finding the renewables industry, things that they're interested in finding out a little bit more about at InstallerShow, the reason they're coming, and lots of other questions. So hopefully we'll have some really good chats, and thanks for watching, and hopefully this is a really good and informative podcast. So yeah, let's get into it. Hi everyone, so I am now at the NEC. We got in and made a long journey, so I've got my badge and everything, so ready to crack on and start to see what InstallerShow has to offer. Let's get inside. So, made it in, and I thought, you know what, I'll have a little walk around and I will try and get my bearings, see what's around, and have a little look and see who I can chat to. And this thing is massive. So I've come up to the top level now, so it's so difficult to show you the scale of this thing. But I've come up to the top level because I've had to hunt out some reinforcements, and I'm gutted because I've just missed co-host Mark doing a catwalk with some new workwear. So he's behind me just there, and I've got to stick around to catch this on film because he's doing, there he is, he's waving, he's been doing a catwalk with some workwear for InstallerShow, so I've got to capture that at some point. I've just got to. So look what I found. I found them at the safe isolation stand. I've had to seek Mark out because I am overwhelmed with how massive this place is. But you've been doing quite a bit, haven't you, Mark, on this?
I have. I've been trying to hide from you, to be honest, because I'm scared you're going to video me on the catwalk. So I've been trying to dodge that.
I'm going to get you.
Yeah, it's a big show, isn't it? So you've done well to track us down. We're here in the back corner, really, aren't we, of the Hall 4? So it's a big old event.
Yeah, I mean, I came to this last year and it was half the size of this. It's just, the scale this year just seems to have doubled. It's mental, but yeah, I've had a little walk around and I just don't even know where to start. So I've had to come and find you to point me in the right direction.
Yeah, there's a bit of a section for electrical, which is good because historically it's mainly been a plumber's show, hasn't it? So we've got lots of other new things. And they've given us this free space here, so I was stood in front of it. This is the kind of safe isolation stand that we've got, that industry have come together behind. And you popped along at Harrogate as well and saw us there at the Elect show, so the big industry effort. Vanessa and the team at Super Rod are central to that. Yeah. And we've just launched the Super Rod survey for this year. If you want to explain that, Vanessa?
Yeah, so we've just launched a new Super Rod survey. It's now available. You can follow us on social media to get the link and try to answer the survey, please. It's really important that we all get behind this and share. We got 4,000 respondents last time. We're trying to smash that number. Okay. It should be doable with all the companies that we've got involved now. And yeah, it's been good here. We've been promoting safe isolation. We've been seeing a lot of installers, not just electricians, but people like installing boilers and being also.
Yeah, that's an interesting one, isn't it? Because you've got plumbers that won't really have ever done any real safe isolation apart from maybe taking the fuse out of the switch fuse or something like that, which in a way is a type of safely isolating it, but not maybe testing that it has actually killed the power to the boiler. So it reaches across the trades, really, doesn't it?
It really does, and we've seen like the blending of our industries. We spoke about this on the podcast, where plumbers are looking at getting into solar. We need to try and keep them out, but they're here doing some of the CPD around the other side. And we see the difficulties isolating AC and DC. It's much more complex than it was 10 years ago. Yeah. So we've got to really be careful with stuff like this, which is why surveys and the work that Vanessa and the team are all doing around this is so good.
Yeah, no, it's good. And I think there's other elements to this as well with like solar thermal. So there's other when you're looking at fixing to roofs and things like that, then the fixings are, the flashings and everything are similar to solar flashings for solar PV. So there is, as we get further into this whole renewables journey, it's going to cross the boundary between electrics, plumbing, and mucky those waters, if that's the right way of saying it, even more. So yeah, I am gonna get some plumbers on. I promise. I'm gonna get some plumbers on by the end of the day.
We are, and Damon's here, who's going to come on and speak to us,
good.
who is a plumber. He's been on the Heat Geek stand yesterday, but he is here today. He's going to come and chat with us on the podcast. So we are really going to get some plumbers on here. They're going to have to put the big boy or girl pants on and come and chat with us.
Yeah. Well, I might have to put mine on to approach them. So there we go. But yeah, no, it's great. Thanks very much, guys, and I hope it goes really well today. And yeah, I'll do the survey when I get my phone back.
Brilliant.
Cheers. Hey, well, since I'm going to do a lot of the heavy lifting, Matt, do you want to introduce our next guest? Because you're going to be you're stationed here, aren't you, as well as all your catwalk duties?
I am, so yeah. We've managed to collar the head of technical from CEF, Darren Stanford himself, and want to have a little chat with him about the show and his thoughts on renewables and some of the stuff that he's seen of late. You were the first out the blocks with the review on the amendment to the regulations as well. I saw you with Mark Coles, so you've had quite a lot of engagement on that.
The bi-directional stuff. Yes. Well, we've been looking at this. Anyone that's been to one of our tech talks recently, we've been talking about just make sure your preferred partner, whoever you're going to work with, their devices can accept energy in both ways. And we knew that there was going to have to be talks at JPEL level about this, and it's come out now. And I believe that hopefully JPEL should be looking to sign this off pretty soon, because it's only that one sentence, wasn't it? Hopefully they get it right. Then it's about manufacturers who we've been working with, making sure that there truly does conform to the BSEN and then also the new reg that's coming out. So yeah, a lot to get your head around.
And that's a unique spot you find yourself with CEF, because you're selling this stuff to us as contractors, and you want to make sure you've done your due diligence, I guess, with the products to help us out as installers.
My role is quite new. I say new, I've been here 2 and a bit years now. But CEF want to be that difference. They want to be that wholesaler that gives you the opportunity to purchase stuff, but the right stuff. So rather than just shipping boxes out, it's important that we understand what's in the box and what you need and make sure they marry up. So yeah, for us, there's been quite a lot of work making sure what's in the box is right.
Yeah, absolutely. And we obviously visited Proteus, didn't we? Which is closely linked to, well, I think it's sole distribution, is it? Through CEF?
Yeah, they've only, just through us lot, yeah. So you went to Telford?
Yeah, I went to Telford, and that was absolutely fantastic.
It's some big engineering stuff. You think when you think Proteus, as I did, you think consumer units and stuff like that, and then literally you go to the other, and it's big stuff in it. It's big stuff what they're doing.
I was blown away, absolutely blown away. But the reason I mentioned about that is that we chat about this in the podcast that's probably live by this point.
Yes.
Out there, that they were almost by accident the first ones to truly have the bi-directional RCBOs.
Dave and I were standing up waxing lyrical about this energy going that way, and can it do it? And the guy stood at the back here and said, ours does that.
Yeah, well, there's the other thing
around... Happy accident.
Yeah, exactly. But I think the other thing around that is the markings on the RCBOs and coming to an agreement about what's done there. And I think the Proteus one is actually just simple, straightforward, and can quite easily be adopted by everyone. But whether or not it will be because it's been thought of by a manufacturer, I don't know.
You're right, Sam. What we're seeing, some manufacturers are actually going to be taking off markings. They've got too much markings on there at the minute. Their markings are confusing, so they're removing it, which means as installers we've got to go via data sheets, which isn't a bad thing, because data sheets is where all the information should lie. But in the past we've never done that, have we? So I think we've got to do it a bit more.
It's tricky for companies that aren't necessarily doing a lot of solar and battery and everything when they're doing EICRs on properties, and we chatted to Proteus about this, not having a clear marking as to whether or not that device is bi-directional on the front can cause a headache, and actually will just probably cause more people to miss the fact that it's not bi-directional.
We were looking at how many historic PV installations are out there, and there's a belief that there's 1.1 million across the UK. And that's a lot on EICRs that are going to get picked up and checked. And people need to know, is that device, is it bi-directional? Is it doing what it's meant to be doing? So there's going to be a lot of C2s or C3s out there.
I guess that's going to feature in some of your tech talks through the later part of this year, because CEF are rolling those out again. To be fair to you guys, you do a better job than most of educating industry. I've got to say, a lot of the content I found most valuable at events like this has been delivered by you and Dave. It's been really good. Have you found engagement here good as well?
Yeah, that's very kind of you. Yeah, we've got 3 times a day. We've got a show or demo on PV, battery and on heat pumps. So we're doing a bit of heat pumps. So our renewable team is here to allow people to gain access to all of those different technologies that are around. And then, yeah, you're right, we're starting up. I'll just about get home, save my marriage, and then I'm on the road again. And then I get to go around. We're doing another 21 events from September through to middle of November, looking at the future of our standards and where they're going. We know there's going to be changes in 5839, so fire alarms, emergency lighting, plus there's going to be changes in our regs. We know it's coming in, that third amendment, and we've got to look at what else could potentially be happening. We've got to keep up, and this is one way of doing it.
It's fantastic. Those events are brilliant. I'll be coming along to take part and join in, heckle you from the stands on that one.
Yeah, no, that's great. Well, I think there's so much we could talk about, and we might.
We need to get Darren on, don't we, on a proper episode?
I think we do. I think that's going to be the result of us coming here.
Is that an invite?
It
is absolutely. Let's leave now. Let's go back. Let's go back to Driffield now. No, I think we need to get people like yourself on, because it's just about the whole thing around the podcast is getting people like yourself on to just tell your perspective on things, because the regs are a bit ambiguous at times, and so to hear multiple different opinions on it is really, really good, and is what good conversation, honest conversation that isn't aggressive, that isn't whatever. It's just honest conversation, disagreements, but we are there to learn from each other.
Yeah,
and I think
absolutely.
That's what it's all
I mean,
about.
what you'll find is, and then I'm lucky enough to sit on some committees with some people that are, again, there's not agreement in the room, but there is consensus, and that's what I think we need to do, is do a little bit more explaining about how we come to that consensus, and then that consensus should get pushed out as an industry and accepted. So yeah, I'd love to pop up there and see you guys.
Fantastic.
There we go. One
Can
guest
we
confirmed.
squeeze a beer in?
Yeah, definitely.
I'm coming.
Definitely.
You're bringing them. You're bringing them.
We can't leave Darren without asking one big question, and that is, after last night, are England going to win the Euros?
Yeah, it's coming home. It's not.
Yeah, it's coming on. Right, anyway, thank you.
No,
we'll see.
no way at all. I think, if you suffered it as much as I did, no, it's still coming out.
Well, cheers for taking the time to chat with us just
Thank
now.
you
I know you're a
Thanks
very
for all
busy
your
man
work.
at the
Well,
show.
Look, busy is busy, but you guys are doing an amazing job here, and the stuff that these guys are doing to make sure that we are doing what we should be doing every single time, not just when someone's looking over our shoulder, is great. So well done, chaps. Keep it going, because we need to make sure that people are doing it.
Well said.
Okay, so I'm finding everybody here at the Safe Isolation stand now. So I've got Andrew Brown, who is electrician, and we've spoken quite a lot, haven't we, about solar and electrics and everything else.
Yeah.
And I know you're kind of in the process and actively fitting some solar PV and things like that.
That's correct, yeah.
So I wanted to, it's quite nice to speak to someone who's, I'd say just entering, we've been speaking for quite a while, but just entering solar PV, and kind of what your thoughts are, how's that going for you, how are you finding it?
Very difficult. It's been a very slow process, and again, I think if you're one person or a single person, it's very difficult.
Yeah.
All
Like a
the
one-man
admin,
band.
one-man band, yeah, it's very difficult. I just find it hard to get labour you can trust, really. That's the thing, isn't it?
Yeah. And so, do you think that, is it more difficult as a one-man band because of the whole paperwork side, or is it more just the heavy lifting of the jobs? Are you having to get other people?
I think all of it. I think there's a lot of admin, which people don't realise. So there's a lot of admin, a lot communicating with the customer, organising all the materials, making sure the materials are on site, and then again with the lifting and the carrying of panels and everything like that. So
yeah. So are you mixing in some solar jobs with? Sort of normal electrical work that you like? What sort of other works do you do?
I do normal electrical work, but I tend to find that the market's very quiet on that at the moment. So I diversified first into batteries, and then from the batteries into the solar. And again, that's not quiet.
Yeah.
So I think what's difficult sometimes is you need to know a little bit about everything, and that's where it becomes difficult, and you sometimes lack that knowledge,
Yeah, I know. For my company, I've definitely felt the slowdown in the solar and battery, but also the price of the jobs that you're up against seems to be falling and falling.
Yeah,
at the end of the day, we've just been chatting about a Myenergi install that you've done.
Yeah.
That if you were, I don't think you were competing against another company that was doing Myenergi, but if you were, that kit within a couple of £100 is probably the same for both companies to buy.
Yeah.
So there's got to be some cost cutting somewhere with labour or with materials or somewhere that is causing it to be thousands of pounds less.
Absolutely.
And I just don't know. I think it's probably labour and speed. I think like myself, you're, from what I've seen, an installer that likes to not take the time as in do it slowly, but take your time to do it right.
No, absolutely. No, that's right. Yeah.
And actually to not price in the time to do that is a mistake to try and compete with other companies. But yeah, it's very difficult when you're losing job after job to companies that are just smashing them out for
absolutely.
having
and the funny thing was, one of the companies I priced against was a building company,
right.
And the building company, when you looked them up, had their own roofing section plus scaffolding section as well. So that's two things out of the equation straight away.
Yeah.
Where I do find as well that at the moment scaffolders are jumping on the bandwagon and tend to up in the prices now of scaffolding.
It's a bit of a gold rush, isn't it? You get it with everyone, and it is a bit of a gold rush now with energy prices. I know energy prices kind of come down a little bit recently. I got an email that my energy was coming down £122 or something like that.
Right.
And so I think energy prices are on a bit of a downward trend, but I've kind of spoken to a lot more customers now about energy insulation, where you're basically saying to people, yes, the price has come down, but look how quickly it went back up.
Yeah.
If you can get one of these systems to secure that 4,000 kilowatt hours a year,
yes.
and you maybe on average use 5,000. If the prices go up massively, you're only being affected on that last 1,000. So you're kind of fixing that energy price for those 4,000 by buying this sort of system.
No, absolutely.
But yeah, it's very tricky. What sort of equipment do you tend to use then?
Quite a mixture at the moment. Everything from Van der Vault, K2, M-Phase, GSE systems as well.
Okay.
I've fitted A-slates, that was the last one, A-slate brackets, hooks, and fastened sole that was. But panels tend to go for Longi. Myenergi batteries, also Give Energy. I've done a solar edge system as well, which was very nice. I think out of all of the systems, Solar Edge was probably the best.
Okay, that's good. Man after my own heart then, because I would definitely agree with that. But yeah, I think it's quite nice to hear you've done quite a varied amount, because for me, I've been in the industry a long time, but I've kind of stuck to the kit that I think is the best. But equally, the kit that I don't think is the best has probably changed a lot since I last assessed it. So it's trying to keep your finger on the pulse with that, which is not always easy when you're trying to do everything else. But
I tend to find that some customers drive you forward on a certain path. They want a particular system, like with the M-Phase and various things like that. I've had customers specify the batteries they want, and some of the customers do a lot of research. They seem to be of a certain demographic into IT. I find my customers tend to be IT based, and that they we want this battery. And again, the way they use the batteries, I find has changed, which you mentioned on your podcast. That I'm saying to the customer, always all about self-consumption. He goes, no, I'm not interested in any of that. I'm just going to charge the batteries at night and then sell it all during the day. I'm like, oh right, okay.
No, that's really interesting, and I think it's nice to hear that you're seeing that bit of a shift in prices trending down as well. 'Cause I didn't know if it was just me.
No. But I'm based in Essex, and I've kept my market very tight. I'm not travelling too far out or anything like that, so I'm not going across the country and all that. I'm not a big company like yourself, so I've kept it small. And the issue is that there's quite a few big companies as well in Essex that do solar. I've seen so many vans now driving around doing it, and with the likes of Octopus coming in now as well. I've lost 2 EV charger jobs just recently to them. One of them I was about the same price, but they could offer 2,000 miles free charging.
It's going to be an interesting one, that, isn't it? And I don't know how that's going to play out. I mean, I've seen it during the feed-in tariff years, where British Gas and some other big companies entered the market, and they got that much backlash because of rubbish installs, basically, that they lasted a couple of years, and then they kind of pulled away from it. So if Octopus can get it right, then it'll probably be fine. But we've already seen a few little interesting points raised on some of their installs. But we'll see how it all goes.
Absolutely.
How we find the show?
Lovely, really good.
It's massive, isn't it?
A lot of plumbers.
Oh, we're going to get some on. We're going to get some on. I'm going to go there after this, hopefully. But no, well, thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome.
And I hope we can hope you enjoy listening back and watching yourself.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank
Cheers.
you. Well, hello everybody. So you might recognise this face. So we've done a podcast with Jordan Robertson from Myenergi, if you weren't aware, and we've caught up with her again. So how are you doing?
Hello.
How are you doing?
You're going to get hate for liking Myenergi too much, aren't you? Can't stop by our stand and say hello, that's just rude.
Yeah, well, you know, it's a superior product. So we've just got to
Exactly, I like
we've
it.
got to sort of stop in.
I'm
but-
good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, good. I am blown away. I think I've said this on every little interview I've done, that I cannot believe the scale of this show.
It's massive.
It's mental. I came last year and I think it was about half the size.
Yeah.
This year, it's a different level this year.
Yeah, it has. It's grown, and it's nice to see. Traders have got such a good vibe. I always like hanging out with traders. It's a good time.
Yeah.
I'm gutted I wasn't here last night for the awards. Everybody's hanging on our stand this morning.
Yeah, I really wanted to go to the awards, but I just couldn't get the time away really. But I think, regrettably, I think plumbers really know how to party as
Yeah.
well. So there's some really good plumber parties. and
Yeah, the
things, so-
plumbers have wiped out all the electricians.
Yeah, that's it. I think that's
They've outdrunk them.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough. They're a different animal, but yeah. But we obviously did the podcast with you, which
Yeah.
went down really well, and thanks again for doing that. But how have you found being at the show and sort of speaking to people at the show in person? Because it's one thing doing video content, but another thing is actually getting on the ground and having a chat to people about
There's nothing better.
No.
There's nothing better than meeting our guys on the ground, our boots on the ground, and I've just done a full talk on it actually with Philippa Forrester, she's a TV presenter, and the whole talk was around the importance of the foot soldiers on the ground. I call them foot soldiers, because if we're transitioning to net zero and we're seeing the demand like we're seeing as a company for our products, and we're starting to partner with these large partners, we really need like more and more electricians, and we're seeing some like skills interlinked, and plumbing companies partner with electricians, and I just think like this collaboration and this buzz in the atmosphere, because this market's about to take off again, is just really exciting. There's that buzz in the atmosphere where everyone's ready for it. Yeah.
I think it's nice when a new the solar and battery specialism has been around for a long time, but it feels like that there's no better time now for people to get into it.
Yeah.
One thing that I've spoken to a few people here about on and off camera has been ensuring that when people are entering this industry, though, that they respect it,
Yeah.
and that they're not just in it for the gold rush like the feed-in
Oh my
tariff
God.
days.
I'm so glad you said that.
It's-
The gold rush is, because it's always like we're quite veterans in this space, aren't we? We've been
Yeah.
in the solar industry a long time, and I've seen it do this. And I've seen, like, I used to call them the cowboys that enter the space, that rip off the end consumer, that leave a really bad service, that don't install the products right. And then as manufacturers, you've got a right mess to clean up and pick up after people, and there's always that worry. So I think it's such an important point. I actually wish we'd spoke about that on the stand, because it is an important point.
I could have given you
I know.
some point. But no, I think through chatting to other installers, what is a real tricky area is pricing against those sort of companies,
Yeah.
and also making sure that the equipment that's being used on the quotes are like for like. Obviously, you've got the Libby, which we're big fans of. But if you're quoting a Libby against some random brand that no one's ever heard of, the customer can sometimes see that as
You're
I've got
trying to
I've got two
profiteer off
comparable
it.
quotes here, but
Yeah.
they haven't.
No.
So I think there's an education part there to do as well in the industry, as to making sure the right installers are fitting the right kit and the customers know about
Yes.
what is the right kit to install. as
And we
well.
did touch about that. We did touch on that on the talk upstairs. It was about future-proofing, like making sure that you're looking at products that have maybe been around, that have stood the test of time, that have stood the peaks and troughs,
Yeah.
that have consistently offered good customer service, that have got good ratings on, Trustpilot and things like that. Listen to your electrician, because they know that when they're fitting these hardware, what they're putting in, and warranty and things like that. And I was just saying, like, warranty and service are going to be where people win, like brand warranty and service, because there's a lot of good products out there now. Products
Yeah.
are just good.
Yeah.
It's everything that wraps all of that together.
It is. I mean, it's like the Zappi. Zappi was the first out there. There's other chargers that do or claim to do, and I'm sure you'll have strong opinions on if they do it and everything. But you know,
solar matching.
Oh, here we go.
Bullshit.
Here we go. We're opening a lot of wounds.
You've
up
triggered
here.
me.
Yeah. No, but my point is that there's a lot of, when something new comes out, it doesn't take that long until other manufacturers either start up or develop their products to try and match it. Whether or not they do it successfully or not is one thing, but a lot of the branding around it and a lot of the advertisement is that they are now comparable to the Zappi or you know, the Libby
on
or
paper.
whatever. On paper. In reality, that's maybe different, but it's trying to get the customers to be informed on that. And I think what you touched on there about the brand and the after sales and the support, and you may obviously Libby's not been out that well. It's been out a while now, but it's not as old as let's say the Zappi. And I don't think there's any problem with companies bringing out new equipment. It's making sure that you're choosing that equipment that is made or being released by good companies like Myenergi that you know that are going to look after you if there is a problem.
Yes.
For us as installers, the worst nightmare is 5 o'clock on a Friday and something isn't working. If you're trying to get through to some like a China-based support system, you just got no chance.
It's so difficult, and we know we've not got it right all the time. It's been a challenge. Like, the business has grown crazy. There's mentioned it before. There's like well over 200,000 connected customers in the UK now, and we get call volumes whether it's a lady trying to change the date on the app, or some app's gone down, or whether it's a Sparky on site fitting his first ever Zappi or whatever, and we've really tried to like loads of different ways to get that right, and sometimes it's been successful, sometimes it's failed, but what we're doing is constantly investing in that area for improvement, and we've just launched our installer scheme, our product champion scheme. And we've launched it at this show. We're just onboarding product champions at the minute, but the actual installer centre, and when you're an approved installer, is going to open up more work, so you'll get sent leads from some of our large partners. You'll get marketing tools to be able to mine for your own leads, but with support of the brand of Myenergi and your own logo and brand. You've got your own dedicated installer phone line, so if you're fully trained and up to date, you'll be able to see that the certificates are up to date. You'll have your own dedicated support, and then we're also embedding into that an LMS system, so a learning management system, so that you can keep up to date with all the latest firmware updates and how-to guides, so that you can say to your customers will always try and triage it for you and deal with your customer faults for you. And we'll try and push them to some of the self-help things, because sometimes it is there and you do just need to look, and we're trying to improve that and automate that as well. But we're just looking at, we know the importance of the electrician. It's been our bread and butter from day one. It was our route to market over all of the large competitors back in the day. No one was dealing directly with the installers, and that is where we sort of like sideswipe this industry. There's now obviously a lot of people doing it, but I think look at reputable companies, look at companies that have got thousands of units out there and are supporting them and survive the test of time. And don't just jump to the new shiny thing because you're going to make a tenner more.
I think
in that moment.
What I really picked up there was that there's lots of changes coming to try and make it better for installers as well, because you get these companies that come out, and I'll probably speak to them today where there's a new product come out, they've got their support line, and that's basically it. And if they criticise, not really that bothered about making it any better. And obviously, like any big company in the UK, Myenergi has faced its own level of criticism for this, that and the other. But actually acting on that criticism is a different thing than just kind of ignoring it. And I didn't know about the installer helpline and things like that, so that's a really interesting point, because you know when you're an installer, you are probably stuck behind Doris, who's trying to change the time and date on the system.
And the volumes can be changed at different times. Like, you can never ever man up and employ a load of people. Because then when you do and it goes quiet and you think you've got it nailed, and then the calls have dropped down, and then it's like, oh my God, it's so hard in terms of like full-time employees and getting that balance over just better systems and investing in systems. And because we manufacture and everything as well, it's just like and there's just always something to fix. But we are really committed to the electrician. We are really committed to improving that service. And I think this installer hub and this product champion scheme's going to be a winner. And Jono's heading that up with our marketing team, so give him some abuse.
No, that's great. Well, thanks very much for your time.
Thank
I don't
you.
want to take too much of your time up. And yeah, that was a really good insight, and I've definitely learned something from there. Thanks very much.
Bye.
So, I'm hoping we're going to catch Mark doing his catwalk. Let's have a look. Here he comes.
Here's Mark, this is a good look. You look like you've just rocked it straight from work. It's good, I like this look. Is it head to toe dickies? I think it is.
Come on, Mark, do a spin for us. Do a spin for us.
Obviously it's a hot day. You've got a lot of things on, but imagine it's a cold winter's day. You're heading off for work, how you feeling?
See,
about that?
this isn't very natural for us Yorkshiremen. We prefer just to wear it and crack on with the job. But you know what? He's doing a good job. He's holding his own.
It's not very nice, and it's got 2 layers, has it? Or sort of 2. It's got like a faux layer, I'd say. And it's got a quilting inside. And we've got some concealed pockets so you can keep on.
I might get kicked off the podcast for this, to be fair. And audio listeners, you've definitely got to come and watch this.
Keep your head warm. In the winter, you do. T-shirt, let's take a look at that then if you should.
Okay, so we've got another guest. So we've got Ian Rose from Passive here, and Ian's going to tell us a little bit about their product because it looks really, really interesting. So yeah, what is the Passive product then?
So we've got the Passive Smart Thermostat, which is a thermostat designed to operate heat pumps. And what we're doing is we are optimising the heat delivery to improve the coefficient of performance, but also making those heat pumps ready for the future and integrating them with other assets in the home. So optimising against your solar, optimising against your tariff, delivering you flexibility services, but doing this in a way that makes it really easy for the consumer. We don't want to be a solution for technophiles. What we want to do, and the design of the hardware, we want this to be a product for people that are used to living with gas boilers.
Yeah.
They're used to having a programmer, they're used to having a thermostat, they can set a schedule. Beyond that, it's all a bit too far for them.
Yeah, well,
so,
I know from my time in doing just like combi boiler installs that a lot of people just wanted the boilers to come on and off because that's how they thought it had to work. It was just basically a signal to turn it on and off. And what I found really interesting having a look at this is it does that, but it does all the hard work in the background.
Yeah,
is that about right?
That's exactly it. You know, we want it to work perfectly. If you're a set and forget kind of person, then that's brilliant because you can set it and it will figure out how to optimise for your particular home, get that flow temperature just right. It'll maximise your efficiency, and if you want to optimise against your tariff, do it. Just tell it your tariff; it'll do all that for you. And of course, one of our big differentiators is if you want to earn some money from your heat pump flexibility, switch it on. You'll hardly feel the difference.
Yeah.
It'll take care of that, and it'll earn you money. So you don't even notice.
Yeah, so that's through these demand-side response
Correct.
schemes and things like that. So,
correct.
Because obviously we have that in the solar world, and it's quite rare to be honest. It's not often that happens in the solar world, but it's definitely something you can see coming in as more people electrify their heating, their cars, and everything.
Absolutely.
It's the way to reduce costs with what is going to be a massively overstocked or undersupplied grid where we're trying to upgrade all this network, and actually demand side response stuff is going to play a big part in actually alleviating some of that issue. I know as being an electrician, I think the old diversity value that they used to apply to most properties was about a 7 kilowatt limit on the electricity. Now we're putting in an EV charger at 7 kilowatts that might be running for 4 or 5 hours, and you add a heat pump and everything else in. Then there's got to be flexibility, and one of the things for my company that I found a really tricky stepping stone is, yes, we could go and buy a heat pump and do the course and fit that, but it's how does that actually integrate to that property, and like what's that keystone in that bridge between the solar, the battery, and then the heat pump at the other side. And I think this looks really interesting. So as part of this, then there's obviously some hardware. How does it sort of talk to the heat pump and things?
So we have a wired Modbus connection to the heat pump. So we are pushing flow temperature instructions to the heat pump. So we've got a little mini computer in a hub in the home. That's learning the thermal performance of the building. That's looking at the weather forecast. That's looking at your tariff. That's looking at other optimization opportunities against your solar on your roof or against the demand response opportunity, and that's calculating when to deliver heat and at what temperature to deliver that heat to maximise your benefit. So improve your coefficient performance and reduce your build cost.
Oh, very good. So does that work with? Is it your heat pump, or do you not make heat pumps?
So we don't make heat pumps. We will integrate with any manufacturer who opens up their Modbus spec to allow us to apply our controls, and there's about a dozen of those at the moment.
Yeah. So I think I was speaking to Tim, who's behind the camera there, and I think he was saying that
he's checking what I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly. I think he mentioned that there's some heat pumps that already have that functionality built in. And then there's others where there's maybe a little device that is basically just translating that signal into it.
Well, we're expecting, the government's really keen to introduce standards so that actually that becomes an open standard that makes it easy. So at the moment we build a different interface for every heat pump.
Right.
It's not hard, but it's time consuming.
Yeah.
Every time they change it, we've got to update. It's not going to be long before there's a standard interface that we only build once, and then you can apply the controls to every heat pump involved.
This is exactly what we've seen on solar and battery installs, where companies obviously want to lock you into their ecosystem of products, and so what tends to happen is when you want to go into heat pumps and things, if that company doesn't do heat pumps, you kind of have to try and get a bit of a workaround. And something seamless like this, to me, looking at it on the surface, seems like a great opportunity, because often the workarounds tend to be quite confusing with having to set something on the battery and then something else at the same time. You've got to try and set a timer so that doesn't discharge, and it's just a nightmare. You can tell people will do it for the first 3 months and then they'll just get bored of it and not. Whereas with this, it seems like it'll do a lot of the heavy lifting in the background and just almost report what's happening to you rather than give you that full control over it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And we've been installing controls with heat pumps for probably about 8 years, and we've been involved in a lot of government and network trials to understand the challenge of dense heat pump deployment, which is why we're so interested in the demand flexibility side. And a lot of those installs, we've put in all sorts of metering, monitoring, add this, add that, and we know all that does is it adds cost. That's not a great thing. And it adds installation complexity. And installation complexity is a disaster for all those involved, including us. So, the new product is make that as simple as possible. We're not asking installers to install extra metering or anything like that. So, for example, the solar calculation, in previous iterations, we've put a little DIN rail mounted electricity meter in so that we can measure it and precisely switch. And the reality is, for the cost and effort to get that level of accuracy, we can actually predict the solar generation.
Right.
So we do data monitoring of 170,000 domestic rooftops in the UK.
Wow.
So we've got a lot of solar data. We know exactly what your solar is going to generate and when it's going to generate. We don't need to add complexity. We might, be a few percent off here and there, but in the grand scheme of things, it's inconsequential. So get the installer experience right, and everything follows from that, and that's what we try to do with this product.
Yeah. So your route to market then, is it installer? Is it more installer based, or?
So we're targeting 3 primary routes to market. Installer, absolutely. This is a professionally installed mains powered product. So we've tried to make it easy for installers. We want installers to take it out there and get their feedback. We think there's a great opportunity for this product in the social housing market because it'll work offline, it'll work online, it'll be smart if you want it to be smart. If you want it to be dumb, it'll act like a dumb thermostat if that's what you want. Some customers, that's where they are today. And the aim of our product is, well, if that's your start point, so be it. We're not going to twist your arm up your back. What we're going to do is nudge you by highlighting to you that actually turn on some of the smart stuff and you'll be better off for it. I think it's taking the customers on that journey.
I think it can sometimes be a little bit scary for some customers, that especially if
if it is through some sort of housing association or something like
they
that,
haven't asked for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
And so actually easing people into this sort of thing can be a really good thing. And as more and more people go into it, and it becomes more mainstream, then people can be a little bit braver about it. But it's not about kicking the door in and making them do it, but it's that easing it in.
Build their confidence and let them travel at their own pace.
Yeah,
that's really important. So social housing is really important, and the other market, new build market, where the product is designed to be, you can install without an internet connection, so you can install and commission, get the whole thing up and running, make sure it's good. The house builders don't know who's going to take that house. They don't know is that a connected customer, a non-connected customer. This works great in that market. And of course, future home standard means that's a big volume market in the heat pump world. So they're the things that we've been thinking.
And so, as far as integration with energy providers and things like that, do you have integration with energy providers?
So if there's a smart heat pump tariff out there, you can optimise against the tariff. At the moment, that means primarily a load of octopus tariffs that you can select on the app. And then what the product then does, it could be a half-hourly tariff, it could be a block tariff, but we will factor that all into the heat delivery.
Right.
So we plan the heat delivery based on a flat rate. Okay, so you want your 20 degrees by 6 p.m. and having learned how the building heats up, we'll say, right, okay, we're going to bring you on slowly, low flow temperature, maximise your COP. We might bring you on 2 hours, 3 hours, based on weather forecast data. But then we overlay that with half-hourly price signal. And if we can get cheap power to you before the 5 to 7 p.m. peak, actually we'll load a bit more heat into the thermal mass when it's cheap, but we'll have calculated that the net benefit to you, because of course that's thermally less efficient than the heating upon need. But if you're going to make money or save money as a result, that's what we'll do. And we'll optimise against those tariffs. But we know more tariffs are coming. There's going to be more competition in that tariff space.
And I think as more tariffs come, the more complicated this can end up being.
Exactly.
Because people don't know which way to navigate to.
Exactly.
And I think that's why the key to these renewable homes having solar battery, heat pumps, and everything else is actually having something that does a bit of the thinking for you.
So let me tell you where I think the future's going, without trying to blow your mind.
It's not hard to do.
So currently, you buy all your power from an energy supplier, and the energy supplier is the only organisation that can link your heat pump to the wholesale energy market. That's all changing. From November this year, third-party providers were going to link your heat pump to the wholesale market.
Okay.
That's still a bit. There's a settlement thing that's got to happen, a half-hourly settlement thing, which adds a bit of complexity. The regulator says they're going to fix that in 2026. So come 2026, there's an opportunity for a whole new type of energy services business. So you could be on a flat tariff with whoever your energy supplier is. I can come along and offer you a service where you don't pay me anything. I'm going to optimise your heat pump directly against the wholesale market. So all of those power fluctuations, as an independent service provider, I can now access that.
Okay.
Which means instead of relying on your energy supplier to do that for you, I can give you an asset-specific optimisation service tailored to your home. And every time I shift your power from a high price point to a low price point, you get paid. And that's a completely different world.
It's tipping
for batteries,
it upside down, isn't it?
For heat pumps, for EV charge points. Changes the game.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I'd love to get you on to the Renewables podcast for a full hour-long episode. I feel like we could be sat here for a long time.
Hours.
Yeah, 2 hours. Okay, we'll do two episodes. But no, thank you very much for that. I really appreciate that. And whereabouts can people learn more about the passive?
So look on our website, passiveuk.com. Loads of information about the new product. Information about where we've done these innovation projects in the past and our experiences with that. So
awesome,
loads
great.
of stuff there.
Thanks very much.
So I'm just editing the podcast together, and you will have all watched the excellent clips and interviews that Sam's got from the InstallerShow. What a job he did with those. They are really, really good. And I have got a selection of interviews I managed to gather in and around the safe isolation stand through the course of the event. Now, apologies about the audio on these, I have tried to edit them up as best I can, but we were roving reporters and my audio isn't as good as Sam's. However, it is usable, and the interviews that I managed to gather were with some big hitters of industry. So we've got Paul Collins from the NICEIC, we've got Charlotte Bamber from ETT Sparksafe, Richard Harvey from Electrical Safety First, we've got Alex Robinson from EAL, and there's some really good conversations mixed in there. So I've included them in this podcast. And I just want to say I dodged a bullet with Sam catching me doing the catwalk, because there was another one where I was made to spin around and do all sorts of other stuff. But just to explain what that is, I work with InstallerShow as part of the stuff I do with Apprentice 1-to-1, and some of that included tool demonstrations, and it was slightly unknown about the catwalk, to be fair, till later on into the process. But in for a penny, in for a pound, all experience is good experience, and as much as it is well outside my comfort zone, and I would say I am the least trendy person in the electrical industry. So having me demonstrating workwear, I guess I'm there as the atypical over 40s fat tradesman. So there's going to be lots of people who look like me and wear clothes like me. So yeah, I'm sure that's why I was included, but I really enjoyed it. The team on the Installer Trades stand were immense, and the whole show was ginormous. I would have loved to have had the time to have gone around with Sam and done some of these interviews with him, but unfortunately I had other commitments. We're back with the normal podcast content, which we'll be rolling through next week. And thank you to everybody who has got involved with the show and commented on the videos, listened on audio, and to Sam for all of his effort and dedication in making this what it is. The growth from the start has been incredible, way beyond what I expected. But let's cut to these interviews, and then Sam will take us out at the end.
So we're at the InstallerShow, and I've bumped into Alex Robinson from EAL, and I wanted to grab hold of him and have a quick chat about renewables and some of the stuff that's going on around training and the sample development that's out there at the minute. But first up, how are you enjoying the show? Have you had to wander around yet?
No, I sort of,
We've followed him straight away.
Yeah, bumped into a few people I know, and but yeah, not got much further than this stand yet, so looking forward to having an explore.
There's lots to see, but in terms of the renewables courses, there's stuff going on out there, isn't there?
Yeah, so it's, really fantastic concept that's recently been launched, known as Electrician Plus, and I think, the important message with that is you can't be an electrician plus unless you've first got that core competence. So, all of the entry requirements for our suite of low carbon technology qualifications from EAL have been aligned to this model, and that means we set sort of strict entry requirements, i.e. you have to be an electrician to access the training, which I think is a really positive step for the industry.
It is, and Charlotte Bamber from Renault was on having a chat earlier, and she mentioned a similar thing about education for contractors to understand that you can't just go into the solar industry without that prior learning, and Electrician Plus is kind of one that might go in all areas, isn't it? It's not just specific for solar and battery storage.
Yeah, no, definitely, and I think just a little plug, EAL, the only awards and organisations to offer solar, storage and EV, so that sort of holy trinity of qualifications aligned to Electrician Plus. So, I think it's really good that it's been recognised that it should be the right people with that right level of competence that are installing this technology.
No, it's vital because we've got a big pool of people to upskill, haven't we, in the coming years. It's the big training what the industry needs. We can't get away from it. Solar is going to be a massive thing for us. So having that there to make sure people are competent and skilled on site is an absolute must. And just to thank you again for your support around the self-isolation stand. We had Kevin on the stand yesterday, so he was doing his magic, interviewing people and getting some feedback on there, so it's massively appreciated, and really involved with the EAL managers as well. So thank you for your time putting that on there.
Yeah, no, I mean also now for safe isolation, it's kind of, we've got to consider multiple sources of supply, which people think they know safe isolation, but that's moved on quite significantly as well, so it's a really sort of timely periods have changed to sort of refocus on safe isolation.
Oh, fantastic. I won't keep you any longer. You can go and explore the show. There is such a lot out there. It's absolutely brilliant. Cheers for taking the time.
Yeah.
We'll get you onto the full podcast episodes in the future as well.
Thanks
for learning.
Cheers.
So I'm here with Paul Collins from the NICEIC. We're on the same isolation stand, but I wanted to grab you and have a chat about renewables. One of your podcasts that started with being Sam Featherstone. You've been doing some roving reporting around the show. He's grabbed a few people. I've wanted to follow a few people. But I wondered what you've got, Paul, around the renewables industry and that's impacting the NICEIC.
Well, just looking around the show, there's so much technology, so much kit around it, batteries, PV, heat pumps. It's the future, there's no doubt about it. You can see that that's growing and will continue to grow. Changes in building regulations are driving that, changes in cost of energy. So it's great to see. What we've seen as NICEIC is an increase in certified businesses that are undertaking work, certified work, and also coming through training to get the knowledge and skills to be able to do this work confidently. It's a positive step.
Yeah, and I guess it's a challenge for you as a CPS that you want to deliver that training and help your members upskill. So putting the resources in place for them where they've got access to that training. I imagine you're doing that at the NICEIC already, bespoke courses around PV and battery storage.
Yeah, we operate the EAL, so we do qualification, battery storage qualifications, standalone, combined, and we're just looking at taking that to more locations. It's great to collaborate training venues, but contractors work across the whole of the UK, so we need to get some.
Yeah, fantastic. It's good that you're doing that because I know from my experience coming into the solar industry quite recently, that's the thing we really wanted, psychological training. The fact that you guys and Naybit and others are all doing things like that is incredible. So are you expecting to see a surge in numbers in your membership as we get other trades trying to become involved in the electrical side of the industry? We've sort of seen that with some plumbing companies and approaching us to do solar alongside them and kind of blending now, isn't there, with heat pumps, solar PV, with more an unavoidable path to merge together, I think.
Yeah, well, we've been looking at connections in our corporate magazine around heat pumps and work electrician, coming together and work with these other types of companies to be able to support them. They can support you. So if somebody comes in and says, "I need a heat pump," okay, you do the electrical bit, and you know somebody that you trust to do the mechanical bit. So that's a great opportunity there. And yeah, we are seeing the scheme growth around the renewables. I think it will slow down over time. With the cost of energy on. I think that's sort of coming down. So I think we should see a continued rise, but it won't be as much as that.
I'm going to be right on that. I think that the cost of energy will affect generation. We're on this path to net zero, some kind of policy at government level. I think we'll still see that growth. But it's been great chatting with you. I want to get you on the podcast properly at some stage where you come in and have a chat with me and Sam and really get into some of these topics. If you ever get a chance to pop up to Trifielding Studio, it'd be great to see you there. Otherwise, thanks for taking the time to chat with me today.
Thanks, Mark.
Cheers, Paul. I'm here with Charlotte Amber from ETT over in Northern Ireland. And I wanted to grab a quick 5 minutes with you, if that's okay, this morning to speak about renewables and our podcast we've got going here. So I imagine over in Northern Ireland you're seeing a bit of a surge in demand over there as well, right, Charlotte?
Yeah, we have, although I would say we're a little bit slower than mainland, but we definitely have seen an increasing number of people coming forward wanting to do, whether it's solar PV, battery, or EV. I think the problem that we're finding is that people don't fully understand the requirements that kind of have to take the qualifications, so we're having to try to communicate that with all of the electricians and those who are involved with organizing, so that takes a bit of time and understanding as well.
Yeah, I mean, we've been on that journey over here as well, I think. It's a bit of a change in mindset for electricians who get stuck in their ways.
Yeah.
We're all doing out in the field on day to day, but there is this growth in work that's there for everybody. So are you trying to beat that in training as well over in Northern Ireland? You've got courses in place for your contractors?
Yeah, we offer, there's a number of different providers in Northern Ireland, but we offer battery, solar, PV, as well as the other courses, 321 and so on. But as I say, what we find is that people contact us to do the renewables training, they can fully understand that they have to have the likes of 321 of the application for an addition of environment requirements, so it takes a bit of time to explain that to people. Also understanding that it's not for new entrants. We know a lot of people coming forward thinking they could just jump onto renewables in a bandwagon, if you like, and can pick up with those short-term courses when in fact have to be in the real and have the experience and qualifications.
Yeah, that's such a good point. There are a lot of contractors who are coming back to the plastering for the first time in maybe a decade in some instances to do this stuff. And new people are really keen to get involved and don't fully grasp the level of education they need to take those steps. So that's really, really good to point out. We have the same trouble over here on the mainland as well, with making people aware of that. But that's fantastic, and it's great to see the success that you have over there around the state of isolation initiative that you're doing in Northern Ireland as well. The renewables, I really enjoyed the show last year, so I'm going to come over again this year to take that in alongside you guys. And then giving freestyle space as well, just to mention all that along the lines of this. So it's really good to have that support from you. Thank you, Jack.
No problem at all. Thank you, Mark.
Cheers, Charlotte. So I managed to grab hold of Richard Harvey from Electric Safety First. He is here on his duties with the Safe Isolation campaign. But how have you found the event as a whole for the InstallerShow? What's your views on it, Rich?
Yeah, big. Lots of stuff in lots of places. So we've done a couple of presentations, one on safe isolation and one on looking around quantum part B on music safety, etc. But it's been really good. It's been great to bump into a few of our friends in the industry, have a chat about bits and pieces. It's nice to see a little bit of solar stuff and electric stuff in that. On the hall, there's a little bit of stuff in this hall, so it's kind of spread out. Loads of plumbers there, so it makes you feel a bit uncomfortable with that side of things. But I think it's very well organised. I like the different areas with different colour carpets. I think the little seminar areas are really well set up. It sounds quite good. Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's heavy on the plumbing side, isn't it? We're seeing that blending of our industries now. Like I said, Electric Safety First, we're kind of tackling that with some of the products and stuff that are in the marketplace. Maybe not your area within that organisation, but you're kind of seeing this stuff coming in from China, Amazon.
Yeah, these like balcony.
These,
you know, systems that the product team are looking into, but
of course, it's a big one.
Yeah, they're doing a lot of work on lithium-ion batteries, which is going to be constant work, isn't it? Trying to battle with the government to introduce legislation on marketplace and all the rest of it. We know the accidents and fatalities that have happened recently with a massive campaign in and around that. But yeah, I mean, with the introduction of heat pumps and all that, it's obviously been a crossover, isn't it? Between ourselves and plumbers and vice versa. So we've had some good conversations today. You know, had some good conversations with different trades. So overall, I've quite enjoyed it.
It's good, and the work you've done with Best Practice Guide 2 recently, for those who haven't seen, that's a refresh on the new content behind us here as well, which is fresh to industry, all graphic done, it looks the actual business. And Rich and Dave are going to be at the elect shows in varying parts, possibly alongside myself as well. And covering the safe isolation stance if you are at Coventry in November.
Coventry September.
Yeah. And then it's sat down in November. We'll be at those. So if you are kind of watching this and you want to come on with safe isolation, Rich and Dave are going to be doing their demo. It's absolutely brilliant. It's a fantastic presentation. And you can come and win yourself some free kit. Rich has got his box of excuses. Matty put all these in earlier, the cameraman, these are all his excuses. He knows it's there.
Just some of the silly excuses that we hear regularly from, you know, Sparkies and whoever, you know, when there shouldn't be any excuses anymore, you know. Getting fatalities and getting injured and all the rest of it is just not good enough. And NICEIC don't help with their insulating tools, because a lot of sparks, until they blow a hole in them and they've got to replace them, 30 quid or whatever it is, it's another kind of blanket of safety when you think I'm safe, because it doesn't matter, because I'm insulated by the tools, but
there is that. I mean, you kind of see the element of if you make a mistake, it's a good last line of defence, but some people deliberately go to bad lives thinking they're safe because of it, when they're not. So that's another good message to get out there. But yeah, if you are at these events, you must come on and check these out. As I say, there will be some giveaways alongside it as well next time. It's been great to catch up with you as normal, Rich.
Always a pleasure, mate.
And we'll be back on the Apprentice One-to-One podcast, regular co-host, and we'll catch you all soon. Cheers.
Wow, what a show that was. I definitely underestimated how long it was going to take to get round everybody at the show, or the majority of people at the show. I've still got a long list of people that I wanted to talk to, and I just ran out of time. I think next year I'll definitely come for all 3 days. Apparently it's getting even bigger next year. I'm going to need a week off work to get round all of that. But at that show, there is everybody. Now, I came last year, and being honest, I didn't rate it last year. I thought it was a good show, but if you're a plumber, this year it's leveled up massively, and that is an honest opinion. If it's going to get even bigger, then yeah, it's gonna be pretty cool next year. But yeah, hopefully you didn't mind this type of content. It was very much more Sam heavy than what's his name, Mark. Mark, yeah, I think I about remember him. A lot more Sam heavy than it was Mark, so normal service will resume. He completed all his catwalks, which was fantastic and very good to see. So well done for Mark for being so heavily involved in the industry and the show. A real inspiration to everybody, I think, as to what you can do with a positive outlook on the industry, even with its challenges. So massive shout out to Mark for all of that. But yeah, if you did like this type of format, then let us know. We might get out on the road a little bit more. If you didn't, then equally let us know. Thumbs up, hit subscribe and everything like that. If you are an audio listener on this, then hopefully it was all right for you. I've tried to consider you a little bit more, but it is definitely one to watch because we've got some really good interviews there with a lot of good people, and it's a very visual podcast. So yeah, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.